now that we have our starter established and it's nice and bubbly and lively looking, the first step in making the bread is to make a pre-ferment. So in other words, we're going to ferment a small quantity of flour, and that will generate the flavour of the bread when we make the dough later on. So we're going to put in 175 grams of water. I always use lukewarm water. And 140 grams of white flour, strong white flour. And 30 grams of our nice foamy culture. And that's it. I'm just going to stir that up into a paste. And we're going to cover it in cling film and let it sit at room temperature for, I would say, 16 to 24 hours. So overnight basically. We'll let that sit and we'll see then that it has all foamed up and fermented and risen to some extent. So here we have the pre-ferment that we mixed up yesterday and has fermented overnight, and it looks nice and bubbly and alive, as yours will too. Here is in the final dough mix, you'll see that there are 430 grams of water. In here are 400 grams. We're keeping 30 grams back, and it'll become apparent later on why we're doing that. So to make the whole thing easier to mix, I'm going to tip the 400 grams into the pre-ferment and just give that a mix up. What you find is that the pre-ferment is hard to combine with the dry flour on its own, but if you make it into a soup with the water, then that helps. Now, in the bowl I have already added the white flour, 700 grams, the strong whole wheat flour, 92 grams, but not the salt, and that's a critical piece of information. No salt at this stage. It comes later, and you'll see later on why that is. So I'm just going to tip the starter and the water in here, and we're just going to combine it. And we're not looking to do anything wonderful here in terms of making a dough. All we really want to do is mop up all the dry flour in the bottom of the bowl. If we can get it all combined basically into a mass of flour, that's all we need to do at this stage. And I think we've achieved that now. Basically the bottom of the bowl is pretty clean. All the flour has been wetted, more or less. So now we are going to leave that for about half an hour. Cover it in cling film or put it in a plastic bag and just set it aside for, it's not an exact measurement, it's not critical, but it can be half an hour, it could be 3/4 of an hour, and let it do its thing for a while, and then we'll resume when we've given it that wee while. Okay, so we have let that rest for half an hour. So you'll find that it has started to form more of a doughy consistency rather than just a sort of a loose paste, and that's basically the natural chemical reactions going on there, the formation of gluten. If we had added the salt earlier, the salt actually inhibits the formation of the gluten in the dough. Well, that's okay, you can make up for that by doing a lot of kneading, but we don't want to do that if we can help it. So now we're going to sprinkle the salt just nice and evenly over the surface of the dough. Never forget the salt. Bread without salt is awful. We've done it mistakenly, and you eat the bread and you wonder what's wrong. It's terrible. The remainder of the water, you'll remember we held about 30 grams of water back from the original mix. So once again, I'm just going to dribble that over. The idea being to wet the salt that we have just added. And I'm just going to just sort of detach the dough from the sides of the bowl slightly to get it moving. And I'm just going to sort of loosely knead it in the bowl. Just bringing it from the outside of the bowl into the inside, folding it over. And you can see that already, that is a dough. It has structure. Like we haven't done anything, we haven't kneaded it, we haven't mixed it in any meaningful way, but it is a dough already. So we're just going to bring it together into a bit of a bundle and just leave it like so and cover it for the period of this is what we call the bulk fermentation. Now, technically, in textbook terms, the bulk formation or fermentation should be 2 or 2.5 hours. But to be honest, I think that's geared towards somewhere where the room temperature or air temperature is like 22, 23 degrees. And I don't know about your house, but it certainly isn't here in Kingsbridge. So I would recommend 4 or 5 hours. Ideally overnight. Overnight is fine. It doesn't take any hurt. Halfway through the bulk fermentation, or at some point through that process, maybe after a couple of hours, we will do what we call a stretch and fold, which is a very basic kneading operation. It's not really kneading, it's just giving it a wee stretch. So I'm going to cover this now, set it aside, and we'll come back after a wee while and I'll show you what we do in the middle of the fermentation, just to stretch and fold. So the dough has now been proving for a couple of hours, so we're now going to do what we call a stretch and fold maneuver. Quite often I would just do this in the bowl, but for clarity I'm going to tip it out so that you can see what we're doing. Just turn the bench slightly here. So that's the dough. All we're going to do, catch one end, stretch it and fold it over, turn it around, stretch it and fold it over, 90 degrees, turn, stretch it and fold it, 90 degrees again, give it a good stretch and fold it. And you can see that really is taking shape as a nice lively dough. There's real body and texture to it. The other thing I'm going to do is put a wee bit of oil into the bowl, just so that it's easier to get out the next time. So just loosely wiping a bit of oil around the inside of the bowl, back in, and we'll cover again for another couple of hours proving.